It has never been easier to find profitable trade-ups in CS2. I've been printing profits the past few days because while everyone else thinks that trade-ups are broken and confusing, once you understand how the new system works, it's actually free money. And in this video, I'll show you guys how to get the free knife using these new trade-up rules by just starting with around $10 by selling your in-game drops. Now before we start, I'll be giving away a knife in my next few videos. If you want to enter, just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, what actually changed? So change number 1, the outcome float no longer uses a simple average of the 10 input skins. The game now normalizes each input by its float caps before averaging. So I have already explained this in my previous video, so make sure to watch that if it's a bit confusing. But now 2 inputs with the same raw float can produce very different outcomes depending on their float ranges. For example, here are 2 trade-ups that look exactly the same. We're using 7 field-tested Prism 1 skins and 3 factory new P2K gnarled. So one of them we're using the P250 Verdigris and the other one we're using the MP7 Mischief. And both have the same average float of 0.132. But the weird thing is, if you use the MP7 Mischief, it gives you a factory new AWP Atheris, while the one using the P250 Verdigris gives you a field-tested Atheris instead. Most people are now thinking that it's RNG or just a bug, but it's not. This is actually how Valve's new float calculation system works. So remember how I said the new system normalizes each input based on its float cap range? That is what's happening here. The MP7 Mischief has a float range of 0.1 to 1.0, while the P250 Verdigris only goes from 0 to 0.7. When the game averages the floats now, it doesn't just take the raw numbers, it first converts them using this formula. So in our case, the MP7 Mischief with a float of 0.17 adjusts to a float of around 0.08, and the P250 Verdigris with a float range of 0.17 adjusts it to around 0.24 instead. So one thing you can do is find these abusable weird float range trade-ups and spam the hell out of it. As an example, let's abuse this MP7 Mischief trade-up, and here's the setup that I'm running for this. So I'll be using 6 to 7 field-tested Mischiefs with floats under 0.185 and 3 to 4 factory new fillers with float caps of 0 to 0.1. By the way, for the factory new fillers, make sure that again their float caps are 0 to 0.1 so that their floats count as is. Good choices being the P2K Gnarled, the UMP Roadblock, the SSG Disaster, the Negev Drop Me, or the Sawed-Off Spirit Board. So how I personally spam these trade-ups is, first of all, I open up Trade-up Spy, then I load my inventory with their extension and mix and match until my adjusted average float is less than 0.07. Don't hand calculate these floats unless you really know the math. And the adjusted float value on Trade-up Spy already applies these new rules, so make sure to abuse it. So I fired a lot of these, and unlucky start, I missed the Atheris and finished about negative $10 overall for the first trade-up. It is annoying, but let's make it back with our next trade-ups. So the second big change for trade-ups is that the number of outcomes in a collection no longer matters. Before, more outcomes meant your chances diluted. Now, odds depend only on how many collections you used. A classic example being this Dragonlord trade-up of using 9 Gallery and 1 M4A1 Knight. This used to only give a 5.55% chance to get a Dragon Lore. With the new changes, it now gives a flat 10% to get it. So this killed some old filler tricks, like for example in a video I posted last week, I was doing this really profitable graphic / anodized navy trade-up, abusing the fact that the SG anodized navy only had 1 outcome, but now it's completely killed, but it also opened new ways to profit. Now, here's a modified version that I've been spamming that takes advantage of rule number 2 and the new float scaling. So we're aiming for mil-spec restricted graphic skins, targeting factory new graphic outcomes like the P90 Vector and the M4A for Polysuit. So for this trade-up, I'm using 3 field-tested graphic skins and 7 factory new fillers with a float cap of 0 to 1. You can again use the examples I showed earlier. So for the floats of the field-tested graphic skins, try to snipe SG Berry gel coats with a float less than 0.225. This is the skin with the best float cap among the 4, but you can also snipe Scar 20 Wild Berries or XM halftone shifts with floats less than 0.175. Then again snipe 7 factory new fillers with a float of 0.035 that has a float cap of 0 to 1. Now in the old system, this trade-up wasn't profitable, since adding factory new fillers with 5 outcomes will significantly lessen the chance to get a factory new graphic skin. But with the new system, the number of outcomes of your filler skins doesn't matter at all, so feel free to use anything you want. Now again, I just used tradeup SPY and kept the adjusted average float to be below 0.1093 to make the graphic skins come out in factory new. And for my attempt for this tradeup, I hit the P90 attack vector, which is about a $40 profit. Are you looking for low float skins for your trade-ups? Well, I just found this low float skin for the Sprint Stream trade-up easily on SkinsMonkey. So SkinsMonkey is a site where you can trade your skins safely and easily to get those nasty CS2 skins. And for you guys, SkinsMonkey and I are giving out a free $5 on your first trade if you put in my code ELS. They're also giving away a bunch of free skins, and using my code you can get a 35% bonus on your deposits. So make sure to check them out, link is in the description. Now for the last trade-up for this video, I will be doing the StatTrak version of the Prismo 1 setup. Same logic, but way easier floats. So this time I'm using 5 StatTrak field tested MP7 Mischiefs under 0.2 and 5 StatTrak factoring you 0 to 1 float cap skins. So again, I'm telling you it's insanely easy to get these skins, and I dialed it in on tradeup SPY until the adjusted average float is less than 0.07, and on the first try on this one today, I hit the StatTrak Atheris factory new, clean $30 profit. So overall, even though we got really unlucky with the first trade up, we did make it up with the last trade up, and that made us a profit of $60 overall. And you can easily achieve this too if you find your own profitable trade ups using these new fundamentals. But anyway, if you want a better in-depth explanation on the new float system and how I made an easy $20 profit, make sure to check out this other video. Otherwise, peace out, boys.